Hey guys, Fallen here, bringing you another deck profile, and this time I'm very happy to say that I'm going to be bringing you a deck profile that I've been working on for quite some time, and I'm very happy that I'm actually able to do so, because this is a deck that I've been wanting to make for a few years now, and I'm very glad I got the opportunity to do so, because now I'm able to share it with you guys, as well as being able to play it. So without further ado, I bring you my Dark World deck profile for 2017. So for starters, our monsters, two Fabled Raven. They let you discard monsters not as a cost, so they can get their effects off. No problem there. I run two of them because three gets kind of cloggy, and they are tuners, so you can go to synchro plays with it. And they get up to decent attack values when you do discard, so it's not too bad if you just want to discard and swarm the field. You have a decent beater to back you up if you're able to. And they're light, which I mean, if you want to be that person, because there's only three light types that will ever probably reach the graveyard, and these are two of them, but you can add like a Blackluster Soldier or a Chaos Sorcerer because everything else is a dark type. So you can have a Chaos, kind of thing going on here with a Dark Light and BLS. Boom, hits the field. And that's a great body to have on board, but it's probably not going to happen. A little inconsistent. Nevertheless, two Fabled Raven. Then two kind of obscure cards. We got Dark Nephthys and Invader Darkness. Dark Nephthys lets you send it from your hand to the grave by... well, firstly, you have to have three Fiends in the graveyard. Three Dark types in the graveyard. Banish two of them, send this card from your hand to the grave, and then the next time I phase it comes back and it pops a card when it does. Well, it pops a Spiral Trap when it comes back. So it's decent. It's not the biggest body at only 2400, but it's level 8, which means rank 8s. And as for Invader Darkness, it's level 8, dark type, no inherent special summoning condition, but once we get into these monsters later on, you'll see that it's probably not too hard to get out. But its effect is worth it because as long as it's on the field, your opponent cannot activate quick play spell cards. So, no MST, no Twin Twisters, no Limit Overdrive, no Limiter Removal. It's pretty good. Pretty decent. But I mean, level 8, 2900 body, and it'll get boosted by Gates of the Dark World, the field spell. So it'll get up to 32, which makes it even better. And if it gets like Fiendish Chained, and you really just don't want to see it go to waste, rank 8s. It's a level 8. So not a bad card to have. Next up, we have three Cerulees. Now, Cerule I've seen a lot of people run at 2, but I like to run him at 3 because he lets you get off a lot of the great secondary effects that these Dark Worlds have for little to no cost, but just being discarded. So you discard a Cerule, and then it goes back to your opponent's field. Then the opponent, being you, since it's in your opponent's control, must discard a card. Not a random card, so you can choose the card you want to discard. So if you want to discard a Brow, you get to pick up 2 cards instead of 1. You want to discard a Snow, you get to bring back one of their monsters from the grave and bring it to your side, as well as searching out a Dark World card. Bring out a Gold or a Silva, you get to destroy 2 cards or bounce back 2 cards. It makes the deck a lot more disruptive than just, oh, I'm discarding and bringing back a bunch of monsters, spam, spam, spam. Have fun with that. No, it makes it, oh, I'm spamming out a bunch of monsters and also, fuck that, fuck this. Gone. So, not bad. This really makes this deck come to life, honestly. Him and one other card, but we'll get into that in just a few monsters. So next up, as I mentioned, 3 Brow, because Brow is basically your draw power in monster form. Discard him, and you draw a card. Your opponent somehow makes you discard him, or Cerule. You draw 2 cards, or 1 additional card on top of the one that you get just for being discarded. So, very good draw power. Never run less than 3. If you are, you're crazy, because you need that draw power. It really helps. Next up, 3 Beige. Beige goes into rank 4s. That's basically all he does. He's 1600 Fiend, Dark type. He gets boosted by Gates, but that only brings him up to 19. So, big beater, I guess, for early game. And he comes back. You don't even have to normal summon. You discard, and he comes back. So that's why I say he's good for rank 4s, because you discard him, you discard like 2 of them with Fabled Raven, and then boom, you get a rank 4. Or you discard 1 with Fabled Raven, and that's level 3 with a level 4. Boom, you get a level 7 Synchro on the board. Not too bad. I would say that you can run 2 if you only want to, but I like to run 3 because I find that he can be more useful like that. Now, I run 3 Snow, just as everyone should, because Snow is your searcher. Snow makes sure that if you have a card in your deck that you need in your hand, and you have the means to discard her, you shall get that card, and you shall continue your combos. And if she's discarded by your opponent, you get to bring back a monster from their graveyard to your field. So something that floats, you get it. Something that you don't need them to have in their grave because it's going to disrupt you. You have it, where it means no use to them because it's not in their grave where they probably get their effect. So, 3 Snow, recommended, always. Now, these two are basically the same card, but just slightly different effects, and I mentioned them earlier. But that is 2 Snow, 2 Gold, 2 Silver, and they discard, or they get discarded, they come back. But they're discarded by your opponent, pops 2 cards on the field, sends 2 cards back to the hand. Now, I believe the only thing wrong with them, really, is that they target, but I'm sure if you can get around that, they're really good. But other than that, they're level 5s, which means you can go into rank 5s, which means that's a little more advantage you probably have over your opponent if you get these on early game. So, running 2 of each is probably better than running 3 of each, because 3 of each will probably break considering the amount of monsters we have left. So we have 3 Lucent. Now, I really love Lucent. I'm really biased towards him, mainly because he has 2400 attack, being my favorite number over here, 2400. And he's level 6, which means you can go to rank 6s with him, because like just about every other Dark World card in existence, you discard him, and he comes back. And it's really his secondary effect, and it does a lot for this deck, or does a little more for this deck. You discard him he's discarded by your opponent, or your Ceruli, or Dark Deal. He comes back, and then you get to bring out a Fiend from your deck. Not your hand, your deck. So remember, that Invader Darkness that you had in here for no apparent reason, it seemed like, well, you get to bring him out from your deck because you're probably not going to draw into him. You'll probably get this Lucent first and this Ceruli first before anything. So you have a 2400 body on the field, and then you get a 2900 body on the field that stops quick plays from happening. And then if Gates is on the field, you have a 27 and 32. Decent, really good, and I would advise that you run 3 at all times because he makes plays extend. Now, next up, a lot of people side deck this guy, and I really love this card, so I wouldn't, but I'm going to say you run 2 Rainbow. Now, the reason why I say only 2 is because if you get the right combos off at the right time, you're probably not going to have to worry about a full field or full back row to deal with. But if and when that is the case, Rainbow is the card to get rid of those things. Because Rainbow, when it's brought back by your opponent discarding it, that's the only problem with this card. Your opponent must discard it. Therefore, Ceruli, Dark Deal, best ways to get this out. Unless you're in a mirror match or something stupid like that. Or they're running a drag down into the grave for no reason, and this is the only card in your hand, so they force it out. This thing comes back once it's discarded by your opponent, and then you pop either all their monsters, all their spells, and traps. So, not bad. Pretty decent, and with Pendulums being moved down to the regular spell and trap zones, it hurts them more because they only had 3 back row and then 2 Pendulums, if they do run Pendulums. So, whatever they had is gone, more so than it already was. And all their monsters, gone if they can't protect themselves. If you get both of them out at the same turn, their field is empty. You have 25-25, that's 5,000 damage. And anything else that you're probably going to be able to spit out of this deck because it spits things out like crazy. So yeah, 2 Rainbow. Probably not the worst thing. And of course, every Dark World deck has to have 3 Grapha. Now, Grapha is an odd card. Not that it's super OP, but it's really easy to use. It was released in a structure deck of all things, and it's one of the best cards of the deck. You discard it, you pop a card on the field. It's discarded by your opponent, you select a random card in their hand. If it's a monster, you special summon it to your field. So, you play something that runs a lot of boss monsters, like yourself here, with the Grapha and Rainbow and all these other things. You get a decent body on the board if you steal the right card, and then, because you have to discard it to get its popping effect off, you're like, oh wow, I just discarded my boss monster. Don't worry, because you can just return the Dark World from your field to your hands, and boom, Grapha's on the field, and you have something else to discard. So whatever's on the field can probably come back to the field and do much more. So Grapha, definitely staple at 3. Never run less than 3. Spells and traps, I'm going to get into the 1-ofs because they are the only 1-ofs, and those are Lord Darkness, Gateway, and Dark Smog. Dark Smog lets you get rid of floaters by banishing them once you discard a Fiend type from your hand. So it lets you get off a Dark World effect, and it also banishes a floater or something that you know can be brought back, something that you know for a fact is probably going to disrupt you if it comes back. You banish it. And your monster effect comes into play too. It's not a cost. So it's not bad. Gateway brings back brings back a Dark World. So it's not bad. I can see, like, if you really need to, like, OTK your opponent this turn, or, well, not even OTK, I guess, if you just need to, like, finish off your opponent, and you don't have enough attack to do so, and you just need, like, that extra attack to get in there and really finish them off, then by all means, Gateway is your friend, because it will bring back 1 Dark World. But you can't, like, it's not the best. You cannot summon other monsters after that. So you want to play this after you've done all your summoning. So it can be good, it can be bad. You can replace it with another Dark Smog, or you can replace a Dark Smog with another Gateway. I can probably see that being more useful. But Dark World Brainwashing is coming out, so you're probably going to replace either Dark Smog or Gateway with that, and that'll probably work out much better for you. Other than that, we have a Lord Darkness here, so you banish a Dark type, draw 2 cards. Replace these other 2. Replace these 2 with this, with 2 more of these, and you'll probably be much better off. So by all means do so. This is the way I want to run it, and with all the draw power this deck has, Allure is like the least of my problems of having another one. Next up, 3 gates. Very simple reason, it is the key field spell. You would not want to run any other field spell than this. All it does, well, not all it does, but what it does for you, it boosts your fiends, or all fiends, I guess, by 300. So that's really good. Then you can banish a fiend type, discard a fiend type, and then draw a card. So you banish something that's already done its job, like a Brow or a Snow, and you're probably not going to bring it back because they're little weak monsters. Then you draw, or you discard a card, so you discard like your Gold or your Silva or another Brow, and then you draw a card, and if you discarded that Brow, you pick up another card, so it extends your plays a little, as well as being able to beef up your monsters. So there's some good combos that can come with this, and I would say never run less than 3, because you always want these. And if you don't want that Dark Smog or that Gateway, run Terraforming if you want to be able to get this, because if you get the Terraforming before this, you end up thinning out your deck, which can really help you win. I like to call Dark World's reverse Lightsworns, because instead of milling everything, you discard everything and draw everything you need. So that works well for you. Next up, you got Dark World Dealings. Run 3 of them, always, never run less. You and your opponent draw a card and discard a card. For you, it helps you because you have to discard a card to get the effects off. For your opponent, it could probably hurt them more because they drew a card, and guess what? That completes their combo. Then they have to discard something. Probably the thing that makes their combo go off. Why? Because they have no other choice but to discard something. They must discard something. So always run 3. It gets you a plus, and it gets you probably a body on the board or another one of these in the hand if you need it. If you got a snow. Next off, 2 Dark Row Lightning. Now stick with me here. It seems really obscure, really old card that probably serves no purpose now. But back row exists. And my main thing is, if there's back row, I want to get rid of it. And sure, I could like MST it and just get rid of back row for free. But why not get rid of the back row for free and get a body on the board? Or, start a combo with getting rid of a back row. Because with this, you pop a back row and then you discard a card. So you discard like a Cerulli or something, and then you keep the plays coming. Or you discard a Grapha and you pop like 2 cards on the field, and now your opponent's mad because you disrupted their play over there. Got rid of their Quaking Mirror Force, got rid of their Breakthrough Skill, got rid of their Lost Wind. You got rid of something that they probably could have used. And it's decent for what it is. Run 2, wouldn't run 3. Replace it with something better. Replace it with Twin Twisters by all means. I don't care. But I like to run 2 of these. They look really nice. Drag Down to the Grave. Now, I would say run 3. You can replace Dark Row Lightning or Dark Smog, whatever you feel like really shouldn't be here. Replace it with a 3rd one. But I feel like 2 is good because sometimes you end up drawing into like 2 of these things. Or you use it and then you just draw into another one and then you're sitting on it. But in the instance where it's like, I drew into 2 of these and my hand's full and there's nothing else I need to really discard, and I'll end up discarding my other one if I have to, or I have to set this one and then I run the risk of getting it popped. So 2 is okay because you generally don't want this to be activated unless you have like 3 cards that will start a combo and your opponent has no choice but to choose one of them, which is basically like saying pick your poison. Or if your back row's full, which it probably will never will be full ever in this deck, but if you're just full of cards that you don't need to necessarily get rid of, you don't want to activate this, I say run 2. It could disrupt you, really disrupt your opponent because you both show each other your hands. So discard something they need, discard something they need. Alright? Good. Then lastly, 2 Dark Deals. They're really obscure, really not the best card, but stops normal spells. So Raigeki and Dark Hole are the first things that come to mind. You pay 1,000 life points, and their effect becomes your opponent, you, must discard 1 random card. So if you have like the 1 card in your hand, like the 1 Grapha, or the 1 Rainbow, you just disrupt their whole play because they try to destroy you. No, you destroy them now. So it's decent. Replace it with like a Quaking Mirror Force or whatever you feel like running in instead. D-Barrier, I don't care. Do it. It could probably work better. I just don't have the money for them. Now lastly, we have the extra deck. So we have Synchros, first off, and they're your Dark Highlander. Run 2 of them. I love this card. Stops you from Synchro Summoning once it's on the board, but it also stops your opponent from Synchro Summoning. So Yang Zing's kind of gone with this. Quasar kind of gone with this. I think Draco Slayers had some synchros, so they're done. DDDs have some synchros, but I think most of them just end up in the pendulum zone anyway, so that's kind of irrelevant. But 2800 gets boosted by gates, so that's 31. It's not bad body. And it has the equip effect where if it's equipped with something, you can destroy it, and then everything that it was equipped with, your opponent takes 500 for each equip card or whatever that was destroyed. So, a decent burn if you really want to, but you don't need to. It's really just a big beater that stops synchros. Next up are rank 8s, Zombie Stein and Full Armored. Full Armor is just spot removal, decent body. Again, light type, so you can do the Chaos thing if you want to get rid of this thing early. Zombie Stein, big beater, and if you really have to, you can use its effect, switch it to defense and negate the effect. It can be okay, it's situational, but for the most part, they're both decent for what they are, and I wouldn't advise that you take up for granted, because they're pretty okay. Well, he's pretty okay, but this is pretty good. And then, only rank 6, our lonely little rank 6 here, is Dragolis the Vampiric Dragon. 2800 defense, you're going to want to keep him in defense mode. He flips extra deck monsters face down, so their effects don't activate. And when he's destroyed or banished from the field, you get to bring him back in face down defense mode. And when he's flipped face up, send one card from the field to the graveyard. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's non-targeting removal. To the grave, which isn't too good because a lot of things float, but it's non-targeting, non-destroying. So, destruction effects don't get activated, and you just got rid of a card. So, not too bad. Our level 5s, ironically, or coincidentally, are actually our playmat cards here. Trias and Adrius. Adrius and Trias are basically the same person, just like split personality over here. Trias has better protection, but doesn't get the boost from Gates. And Adrius has an immediate activation and does get the boost from Gates, which makes him a little better in this deck considering he's a fiend. So he gets a 2900 attack with Gates. And Trias, on the other hand, does not get the boost, but it does have protection to it. So you get to select and destroy one card in the field. And then in the end phase, detach an Exile material. Adrius, you just select, detach, and destroy. So Trias is better for protection if you want to keep him around, and Adrius is better just for getting rid of things that you don't want on the field anymore. So you have a lot of destroying effects in this deck, so you can get past some pretty pesky things, but again, a lot of these are, targeting destruction, so you might want to get around those with like running a Dark Hole in this deck or a Raigeki. I was really going to put a Raigeki in this deck, but they're too expensive right now, so this is as good as it's going to get. Lastly, we have our rank 4s, and no, I do not have Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. Otherwise, they would be here, because those would really tie the deck together quite well. But we have Steel Swarm Roach, which stops level 5 or higher by detaching. You negate the summon and destroy the monster. Isn't bad. 1900, it's a fiend. Gets boosted by Gates up to 21 or 22. So it's decent early game. Then Diamond Crab King. This is why I run 3 beige, because you can go into either one of these, and if one gets destroyed, it's okay, because I have 3 of them. And out comes the second one, and boom, rank 4. So Diamond Crab King is a wall. It is a 3k wall. Early on, that can be really hard to get over, but the good thing is, it's not just a wall. He defends, but he also attacks. You detach, switch him to it, or you put him in attack, detach, his attack and defense switch, so he has 3000 attack, and then he attacks over whatever you had to get over, and then he switches back to defense, and his defense and attack go back. So he attacks, boom, 3k, and then comes back, boom, 3k wall. So he's not bad, but by all means, if you have the Utopia and the Utopia of the Lightning, put them in here. They'd probably really be, staples of this deck. If I had them, I would never run this deck without them. Even with links, at least I can get the one extra monster zone and just use that to my advantage. So, all in all, not too bad. And this closes up the extra decks, so I'd like to thank you for watching this 20-minute video. I'm sorry it took much longer than the plant type video, which I will be updating because the cards that I was talking about in that video that I would want to add, I received them. I ordered them on Amazon and I received them. So I'm just trying to figure out a good way to fit it in. I don't want to go over a 40 card deck, but I also don't want to take out any cards that were already in my deck. So I'm having trouble on how to play that deck now. So I want to update it, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to get it out. But for the most part, this is it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. By all means, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think, what any suggestions you have. I'm open to them. If you want to see me if you want to request a deck profile that I'm able to do, I have 6 samurais that I'm sitting on. I got Lavos. I got some Synchron madness going on over here. I got a Chaos Dragon deck I'm working on. I got Evosaurs, which I'm probably going to do either way because I feel like they can be quite relevant. And I got Ancient Gears. So those could be fun deck profiles that you can mess around with. Basically just use them as a base and then build your deck the way you want to based off what I had. Other than that, I want to get into openings. So if there's something you want to see opened and I have the means to do so, I can probably get it and open it, and you can see how my luck is and watch me open that. I can probably get some pretty good cases. I don't know if I'll be able to constantly, but I can try. So, with all that being said, thank you.